For anyone who doesn't already know me or hasn't seen one of my videos before, my name is Ness and I am the self-advocacy coordinator for the West region of Massachusetts. And every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. I post a live video talking about a human rights related topic. Today I'm going to do something a little special. Instead of posting a video talking in detail about just one of your human rights, I am going to share with you a book written by a self-advocate with intellectual disabilities called Edwin's Book of Rights and Responsibilities. Edwin, the self-advocate who wrote this book, is someone I met through my work coordinating local self-advocacy groups. And he, when I met him, had been a self-advocate for well over 20 years. He taught me a lot of the things that I know about self-advocacy. And in addition to being a real leader in his self-advocacy groups, he was on the Human Rights Committee at the agency where he received services and the agency that oversaw the group home that he lived in. And in addition to both of those things, he also helped lead trainings to teach other self-advocates and other people with intellectual disabilities more about their rights so they would know how to stand up for themselves. He was a really, truly incredible person. And in order to help him run those trainings and help him teach people, he wrote this book that contains 12 important rights that everyone has. And just to say, these are not your only rights. There are well more than 12 rights that everyone has, but these were 12 that he thought were especially important, and especially important for people with intellectual disabilities who maybe live in group homes as he did or otherwise need some supportive services. So with that, I'm going to get started reading Edwin's Book of Rights and Responsibilities. Right number 1. You have the right to make safe and informed decisions. For example, you have the right to go to the park. You make informed decisions on if it's safe by checking the weather. You also have a right to safe transportation. Responsibility number 1. It's your responsibility to make sure you have all the information you need to make a safe decision. For example, if you went to the park, it's your responsibility to check the weather and dress appropriately. Also, if you have a new medicine, it is your responsibility to ask if there are any side effects. It never hurts to ask questions. Right number 2. You have the right to use your own things and your own money. For example, you have the right to have your money and belongings in a place of your own, like your bedroom. You also have the right to use your money to buy what you want from the store. Responsibility number 2. You have the responsibility to use your own things wisely, to ensure bills are paid before spending all your money. For example, it is your responsibility to keep track of how much money you have. It is also your responsibility to check the prices of things before you decide to buy them. If you want to buy something, you need to make sure you have enough left over to pay for bills. Some bills might include the barber, groceries, house bills, medical expenses, church dues, cell phone, bus fares, and more. My apologies for the noise outside. I'm by a window and someone is mowing my lawn right now, but I hope you can still hear me. So I'm just going to keep going. Right number 3. You have the right to freely give in relationships. For example, you have the right to have relationships with friends and family members, and nobody can take that from you. But remember, staff can be friendly, but they are not a freely given relationship. Staff are paid to work and spend time with you. Responsibility number 3. It is your responsibility to treat others with dignity and respect. For example, be polite, no yelling, and have an understanding of what others say and where they come from. Don't jump to conclusions or make assumptions before talking to someone. Remember the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Right number 4. You have the right to receive appropriate care and information. For example, you have the right to get medical care or emotional support whenever you need it. Your doctors or support people should be able to help you answer any questions you have about your care. Responsibility number 4. It is your responsibility to consider healthy recommendations and use that information wisely. For example, Visit physicians and take the advice they give you. Make sure to take medication on time. If you are feeling sick, make sure you see a doctor or go to the hospital in case of an emergency. Right number 5. You have the right to be free of mistreatment or abuse. For example, you have the right to be safe from physical, verbal, and sexual abuse. Remember the golden rule. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Responsibility number 5. It's your responsibility to not mistreat or abuse others. For example, if there is a disagreement, try having a controlled discussion about what is bothering you. No yelling or making false claims. Again, remember the golden rule. Treat others the way you would like to be treated. Right number 6. You have the right to privacy. For example, your personal information is yours and yours alone. You should never be forced to reveal personal information that makes you uncomfortable. Personal information that you have the right to keep private might include medical information, information about money, or information about your family business. Responsibility number 6. It is your responsibility to respect others' privacy. For example, don't bother people if they would like to be alone. Knock before entering closed doors. Make sure to get permission to come in. If someone tells you something in confidence, make sure to keep that information to yourself and don't tell anyone else. Do not steal or use others' possessions without permission. Right number 7. You have the right to make safe and healthy choices. For example, you have the right to stick to a diet that is healthy for you. Remember, not everyone's diet can be different. Remember, everyone's diet can be different. So don't worry if you have to eat different foods than everyone else in order to be healthy. You also have the right to take medicine if your doctor has prescribed it or said it is okay to take. Taking medicine that isn't yours or isn't approved by your doctors can be very dangerous and unhealthy. Responsibility number 7. It is your responsibility to make safe, healthy, informed choices. For example, dieting can be a good way to maintain health. Sticking to a specific diet can be very helpful. Talking to a nutritionist about what foods are good and bad can also be helpful. Read labels and ask questions. Right number 8. To receive equal pay for employment or work done. For example, you should be paid on a regular schedule. No employer can refuse to pay you if you are working. Responsibility number 8. It is your responsibility to meet all job requirements. For example, Edwin's job requirements were to take boxes off a conveyor belt and pack them each with 6 puppy pads. The boxes had to be packed in a certain way to fit. Having an attention to detail is a good trait to have when trying to meet all job requirements. Many jobs require working as a team. If you don't meet your requirements, you can also hurt the rest of the team. Right number 9. You have the right to state complaints or concerns and receive appropriate responses. For example, you have the right to be upset about something and get answers to why you're upset. In order to do this, you need to also ask questions and work together with people. If staff is doing something that you don't like, you have the right to say something about it. An appropriate response from staff might be to explain why they are doing what they are doing so that you can understand. If you still don't like it, then there might be a way to compromise. An inappropriate response from staff might be that they ignore you or don't explain why they're doing something that you don't like. Responsibility number 9. It is your responsibility not to falsify or embellish complaints or concerns. For example, remember what the actual problem is and stick to it. Don't make up stories about people. Be honest when raising issues so that others can help as best they can. Bring up concerns as soon as possible. If something is bothering you, do not wait days or weeks to bring it up. Talk to someone who you can trust and be truthful. Right number 10. You have the right to live a quality life. For example, you have the right to have freedom and spend your time in ways that make you happy. You should be able to spend time with people who make you feel safe and happy. Responsibility number 10. It is your responsibility to respect that other people have the same right to a quality life. For example, just as you have a right to a good quality life, other people have that same right. Every person is able to live their life as they want. Other people may enjoy doing different things than you, but that is their life, and they have the right to live it differently if that makes them happy. Right number 11. You have the right to vote. For example, You have the right to vote during any election and have your voice and opinion heard. You also have the right to be registered to vote. If you are not registered to vote and would like to vote, then this is something that your staff can help you with. You also have the right to grow your own opinions about candidates by learning about them by watching TV and reading newspapers or magazines. Responsibility number 11. It is your responsibility to learn about candidates and their platforms. For example, make sure you know who you are voting for. You can use the internet, television, and newspapers to learn more about candidates. Make sure you understand where they stand on important topics like immigration, healthcare, gun laws, taxes, and more. Right number 12. You have the right to practice your own religion. For example, no one can tell you what religion to practice or deny you the chance to practice your chosen religion. No one can make you feel bad about practicing the religion you choose. Responsibility number 12. It is your responsibility to respect others' religion. For example, you will meet many other people who go to different churches and practice other religions. It is important to respect their religion as being important to them. Just because they practice a different religion does not make them any less important than you or I. Bury the hatchet and let it go. So again, that is Edwin's book of Rights and Responsibilities. I didn't write it, but I think it's a wonderful resource. One thing you may have noticed about Edwin's book of Rights and Responsibilities is that it's just that. It's a book that pairs rights with responsibilities. That is something that I hear a lot, is people talking about rights and responsibilities as if they always go together, as if they're inseparable. I think that can be a little bit confusing or give people kind of the wrong idea sometimes. I think sometimes the way we talk about rights and responsibilities together can make it sound like these responsibilities are things you have to do in order to have these rights. That is not actually true. Rights are things that everybody automatically has just by being an adult human being living in this world. That's why they're human rights. If you don't fulfill one of these responsibilities that might seem to go with one of these rights, it doesn't mean that it's okay or legal for that right to be taken away from you. There are very few things that you could do that would make it okay or legal to take certain rights away. So I just want to give a couple of examples from the book to kind of clarify that. So with right number 1, as a reminder, these pages of the book say, you have the right to make safe and informed decisions. For example, you have the right to go to the park. You make informed decisions on whether it's safe by checking the weather. Responsibility number 1, it is your responsibility to make sure you have all the information you need to make a safe decision. For example, if you went to the park, it is your responsibility to check the weather and dress appropriately. With this example, it's your right to make safe and informed decisions, like the decision to take a walk and go to the park if you want to take a walk and go to the park. And it's your responsibility to check the weather so you know how to dress to take a walk and go to the park. But if you don't check the weather and you end up taking a walk to go to the park and maybe it's really sunny out and you're not wearing sunscreen or a sun hat, you might get a sunburn. That doesn't mean that it's okay to take your right to make safe and informed decisions for yourself away, but you may suffer certain consequences, like having the sunburn. Another example that I want to share from the book is with right number 9. To remind you what right number 9 says, you have the right to state complaints or concerns and receive appropriate responses. For example, you have the right to be upset about something and get answers to why you're upset. In order to do this, you need to also ask questions and work together with people. If staff is doing something you don't like, you have the right to say something about it. An appropriate response from staff might be to explain why they're doing what they're doing so you can understand. If you still don't like it, there might be a way to compromise. An inappropriate response from staff might be that they ignore you or don't explain why they're doing something that you don't like. And responsibility number 9 says, it's your responsibility not to falsify or embellish complaints or concerns. For example, remember what the actual problem is and stick to it. Bring up concerns as soon as possible. If something is bothering you, do not wait days or weeks to bring it up. Talk to someone who you can trust and be truthful. With this right, you have the right to tell someone if something is happening in your life that you don't like, or if a staff in your home is doing something that you don't like. And the responsibility is to try to be truthful and bring up concerns when they happen. But say something bad happens to you and you don't bring up a concern right when it happens. And maybe that happens a few times. And your staff starts to get frustrated with you and they say, Ness, you keep talking about this incident that happened last year and then you did it again. Something bad happened 2 months ago and you're only bringing it up now. Why does it always take you so long? That doesn't mean it's okay for them to stop giving me appropriate responses. They still have to try to give me an appropriate response no matter when I bring the problem to them. It just might be harder for them to come up with a response that's really something that I would want it to be because it's so long since the incident happened. So I hope that that helps clarify a little bit that not fulfilling these responsibilities doesn't mean you get your rights taken away. It's still not okay to take away your rights. You just might have other consequences for maybe not behaving responsibly with the rights that you do have. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is Edwin's Book of Rights and Responsibilities. I hope to be able to put this book in a PDF on our website eventually, to have it be free for other people to use because I think it contains really important information in a way that is really helpful to explain, to use to help to explain rights to people. So that hasn't happened yet, but when it does, I will post here on Facebook so that folks know that they can go to our website and find it to use it. And remember that if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can ask them here. I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can. Um, you can also message us if you have questions, comments, concerns, if you need support, or if you just want to say hi. We also love comments if there are any other human rights related topics that you would want me to talk about in a future video. Again, I make human rights videos every Wednesday at 5:30 right here on this Facebook page, and check this page often because we post other new content 5 days a week. Have a wonderful rest of your day.